All right. How's it going? It is Iowa night. Iowa caucuses are tonight. I'm not going to be streaming the entire thing. I might even stream up, like, I don't know, maybe for the next hour, and then I'll kind of watch the results from all different people that are covering it. So, like, if you want to watch live coverage of the results, I think there are better places to watch that. I'm just being completely honest, because right now it's just me on the stream, so I don't find it all that interesting to just watch me and my coverage of this. But Young Turks are streaming it, Majority Report. I think The Hill's even doing a live stream. So you got a lot of options once the results start coming in. But let me give you I'm gonna go over some news I collected. I almost did a live stream earlier today just to do all the news coverage I missed over the weekend. It feels like every Friday when I'm done my live stream on Fridays, like once I'm finished, all this news breaks. So when I was done my live stream on Friday, it was like Michael Moore calling out Bloomberg and the DNC, Rashida Tlaib booing Hillary Clinton. What else was going on? Like new polls coming out. Like it was crazy stuff that I missed. But I'll take some super chats in this stream, and gonna go on Twitter a little bit. This may be a little more of a laid back stream, kind of like a Twitch sort of dealio, where I check out Twitter because there's some stuff going on already, and the caucus hasn't really officially started, but there's been some satellite caucuses which I didn't even know was a thing. So I started seeing coverage of it, and I was like, oh yeah, people that live in other places or have to work at night get to caucus early. So that was cool. So let's check out some of that. So this is Jamal Green. He's I think is a surrogate for Sanders. Yes, national surrogate for Sanders. So let's zoom in here. You can't see anything. All right. So he tweets out, this was just half an hour ago, saying, I'm live at Drake University where we've just won this caucus. We persuaded the Pete Buttigieg supporters to join our revolution. Bernie wins with 5 delegates first pick, while Warren got 2 delegates second pick. This was amazing. So this is pretty cool. Again, this was an early caucus. I believe the actual event, or I guess caucuses, start at 7, I think, or 7:30. Sorry, that's their time. So hour and a half is when everything actually starts going. But we can keep up. I'll keep updating my Twitter machine, see what's going on, because this happened. I saw this earlier. Biden team's already admitting it's not going to go great for him. I mean, like, when your team is saying this before anything has even really happened, man, I guess it's not going to go well for him, because they wouldn't be saying this unless that was the case. What else happened? Actually, here's one. Oh no, that's someone else's forecast. Before I go into some of the videos I want to share, I did like some stuff today that I'm sure relates to this. Yeah, so this is the guy that went over and joined the Sanders camp after, I think Ro Khanna's the one that talked to him and convinced this Buttigieg supporter to support Sanders. So there we go. Some excited Bernie supporters there. Yeah, here we go. Ro Khanna won over the Buttigieg caucuser. Look at that. Freaking awesome. I mean, that's one of the benefits of a caucus is you actually get to, engage people face to face and help inform other voters. Let's watch this.
The whole world is looking at Iowa. The whole world is asking whether or not the people in Iowa are prepared to stand up and fight for justice. All over the world, people are watching to see if the people in Iowa are prepared to help create a government and an economy that works for all of us, not just the 1%. All over the world, people are looking to Iowa to see whether we continue an administration which is attempting to divide our people up based on the color of our skin or where we were born or our sexual orientation or our religion or our gender. Or whether we're going to have an administration that brings our people together, black and white and Latino, Native American, gay and straight. This is the political reality of the moment. This is what I believe. We are taking on the entire political establishment, the Republican establishment and the Democratic establishment, and the whole damn 1%.
All right. So we got high hopes, and not in the Buttigieg sense, but actual high hopes. What else did I see today? This was cool. Paul Williams, I think just your typical voter, Sanders supporter. I knocked on Shelley's door 4 hours before the Iowa caucuses in Fort Dodge. She was undecided. She can barely afford the health care her kids need. She was worried about what they will do, what her grandkids will do if we don't get Medicare for all. Now she's going to caucus for Bernie. That's what I love to see. These discussions, these personal connections, bringing people over to the light. Okay, Let's do it. Let's watch this crap. Chris Matthews. Okay. I gotta suck myself up for this because this is really hard to watch. It's so bad. Audio failed? Okay, great. Whose audio failed? The video or my voice? Oh, that's weird.
I think they got to find a candidate for president.
Sorry, I'm going to do some little test right now.
It could be Trump. And you don't think anybody...
That's odd. Okay, I don't know why the audio failed there. But anyways, I think my audio should be working now. But let me go to this here. So Chris Matthews. Why is everyone saying video? Do you want to watch the Bernie video again? Is that what this is about? Okay, there's like a minute delay, so there's a problem here. All right, let me watch this.
What are my thoughts? I'm not happy. I'm not happy with this field. I think they got to find a candidate for president that could beat Trump.
And you don't think anybody in this field
I'm
can beat
looking.
Trump?
I'm still looking.
Still looking.
What's the problem?
Obvious problems. They're all problems. Bernie Sanders is not going to be president of the United States. Okay? I went back to the 72 race. I was a young volunteer for the DNC. I was working for a senator from Utah at the time. I've got to tell you, it feels a lot like it. A lot of giddiness, a lot of excitement, a thrill about this guy.
You're saying a lot like McGovern?
Well, exactly, because he was very excited. He excited the party completely, blew away a really good candidate like Muskie, a really good guy. Blew him right out of the water because he had some issues. Now, analytically, I think a couple things have happened. One is Warren was riding high. I thought she was going to sweep through everything. I should first two easily and just keep going. She was the one candidate I thought could do that. What happened? She got a lot of scrutiny. You don't want a lot of scrutiny, and she got a lot of it. Does this stuff add up? The Medicare for all, the free college?
She got a lot of scrutiny because she rolled back her plans. like Chris Matthews is thinking, oh, she got scrutiny because of Medicare for all and because of I'm not even sure what her public college plan is, to be honest, but I don't think it's universal free public college. But no, if that was a scrutiny, then that would take Bernie down as well. No, the issue was Warren changed her Medicare for all plan to this two-pronged approach where you have two bills, two political fights, and you aren't actually fighting for Medicare for all until your third year. So the whole thing is like his whole analysis here is just completely wrong. But let me continue.
All that stuff got killed, and guess who's going to get it now? Bernie's going to get it now. Bernie's going to ride high, and he's finally going to get scrutiny about his whole life, his ideology.
He's been getting scrutiny for 4 years. Like, again, these people live in fairyland. None of this is true.
Whole life, who did he root for all his life? Who is this guy ideologically? It's not just...
You have videos. We've all seen them from the 80s and 90s. Like, Chris Matthews, just, his political analysis is like from the 1980s. He needs to get off television. He is horrible.
Nice, good stuff like healthcare. Why does he say the stuff he does about Maduro and people like that? Why does he say Denmark one week and then somebody else? I mean, people got to figure out who the guy is.
Yeah.
I think I know.
What the hell was that? What was he even saying here? Let's just play this little piece here.
Who did he root for all his life? Who is this guy ideologically? It's not just the nice, good stuff like healthcare. Why does he say the stuff he does about Maduro and people like that? Why does he say Denmark one week and then somebody else? I mean, people got to figure out who the guy is.
Yeah.
This guy gets paid millions of dollars to say this bullshit. None of this means anything.
I think I know because I've dealt with these guys most of my adult life. They're usually the guys at the card tables at an anti-war rally. There'll be there some old guy with some old literature from this socialist party to that, trying to sell it, trying to latch on to the anti-war movement.
The socialists are trying to latch on to the anti-war movement, according to Chris Matthews. They're the ones that let it. So what the fuck are you talking about?
There's always guys like that, and they're usually, as Howard Fine once said, non-negotiable demands, yelling up at the administration building during the anti-war movement. I know them, but I think the country's going to get to know them. I think we got a problem. We'll see. But, nobody's going to say it tonight. They're all going to be cheering. Good old Bernie.
I want Chris Matthews to be on television long enough just to watch Bernie Sanders completely destroy Trump in the general election and then get the fuck off television and never see you again. Because your analysis is just completely backwards. You have no idea what the hell you're talking about. What a piece of garbage. I think there's more, too, but I have no interest. No interest. Oh, this was fun. As David Starr says here, the mask slips more each day. Watch this little clip.
Looking like he's going to run away with it. There's no doubt that if Bernie Sanders is looking like he's going to run away with it, for the Democratic establishment, that's almost as scary as losing Donald. Like, beating Donald Trump is really important. Almost as important as keeping Bernie Sanders from being the party's nominee. And that will help Mike Bloomberg if that's where we end up in the first week in March. Really?
Yeah, it's going to help Michael Bloomberg, who I'm sure is going to win so many voters over. The only votes he has so far is from tricking undecided voters. And you are seeing Bloomberg rise in polls. Like, he's at like 10%. But it's purely from buying television ads. The moment Bloomberg gets any scrutiny at all. I mean, most people don't know Bloomberg endorsed George W. Bush in 2004. You put that into an attack ad, that's it. Bloomberg's done. Like, you're going to lose Democratic voters immediately if they touch his record at all. So sure, put up Bloomberg once Biden falls. Well, like, what the hell's that going to do? I'm hearing super chats come in, so let me grab some of these. And we have a new member. Welcome, Mad Parrot. Parrot? Let me grab some super chats here. In the meantime, oh, that's right. Bernie won the first Iowa satellite caucus, as you see there. All right, super chats. All right, Guy Lafleur, who is the one that gave me a giant donation last live stream, comes back with Me Gusta. Hey, what's up, Guy? Donald Trump Jr. says James Carville is endorsing Michael Bennett. Another person who can just go away completely. No one cares about James Carville. Wendy says DNC voting app developer, quote, Defending Digital Democracy Project co-director, former chief of staff / Defense Department, and who has appointed Clinton's 2016 campaign manager Robbie Mook as senior fellow. I don't really understand the super chat. Are you saying the person that developed the DNC voting app was in the Defense Department and appointed by Clinton? Yeah, I don't want to get too negative right now. I'm feeling pretty pretty optimistic about tonight. Old Gringo sends a super chat with a crazy face. What's up? Elise Balk says, you had the music off? Yeah, something happened when I was playing that Bernie Sanders clip. I don't know what happened. And Son says, when Chris Matthews cries, a child in the U.S. gets health care. Speaking of children, I want your baby, daddy. Thank you, Anne. All right. So this happened earlier. Let me just read this. So CPD Action, which, by the way, endorsed Sanders recently. They're a big progressive group. Bernie Sanders wins very first Iowa caucuses precinct. This satellite precinct goes almost unanimously for Sanders, 14-1. So this was backed by the Ethiopian immigrant workers who helped make this happen. So it's a small group, obviously. This was again, a satellite caucus for people that worked later on in the night. But cool to see. All right. Now, should I give you my potential? See, I was going to give you like a prediction, but I don't want to give you a prediction because I don't know what's going to happen. The hardest part with caucuses is that you don't know how people are going to, or what people are going to do on their second vote. So they have the first round, and if your candidate doesn't hit 15% in your precinct in the first round, then you can move over to a different candidate. I have no clue where like Buttigieg supporters may go, where Biden supporters may. I mean, I could speculate, but honestly, a lot of it is depending on the person. Like these voting blocks aren't voting blocks. Like they differ depending on the candidate, obviously, but also just depending on the person. So while some of say Warren doesn't hit 15% in a precinct, some of her supporters may go to Bernie, but some may go to Buttigieg, some may go to Klobuchar, some may go to Biden. Like it's impossible. So this is why I don't think it makes sense to give a prediction here because I don't have any idea. It would be just a guess if I give you anything. Obviously, based on polling, Sanders is doing really well, but it's impossible to know. Let's see what this is.
Green New Deal. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? A Green New Deal. When do we want it? Now. What do we want?
That's awesome. These high schoolers can't vote, so they were greeting Des Moiners, asking them to caucus for Bernie Sanders and a Green New Deal. That's amazing. These kids can't even vote, and they're here engaged in the process. Like, this is what's going to change things. The youth turnout this time is actually going to increase. I mean, 4 years ago, people were talking about, whoa, all these young people, if they come out for Bernie, he's going to win. And a lot of them did come out, but nowhere near the number that we needed them to come out. But now they are definitely a lot more engaged than 4 years ago. Not just for Bernie, but because of like issues like climate change, for example, has really motivated younger voters. So I think we're going to see a much higher youth turnout this time than we saw last time. All right. I want to get some up-to-the-minute updates here. Actually, I saved some links. Let me see if I saved anything else that's interesting. Okay, let's watch Joe Biden. I don't know if any of you saw this yet, but this man would get destroyed by Trump.
Knowing that.
So let's just watch the video. So I think this is one of the only times that Biden's actually questioned on his son getting a cushy job.
And no one's found anything wrong with his dealings with Ukraine except they say it sets a bad image.
Well, do you agree that it sets a bad image?
And my son said that.
Do you think it was wrong for him to take that position?
No.
Knowing that it was really because that company wanted access to you?
Well, that's not true. You're saying things you do not know what you're talking about. No one said that. Who said that?
Don't you think that it's just one of those things where people think, well, that seems kind of sleazy. Why would he have that job if not for who his father was?
Because he's a very bright guy, and no one's found anything wrong.
He's a very bright guy. Yes, that's why a Ukrainian energy company hired your son, because he's a very bright guy. Unbelievable. Like, just any little pressure on Joe Biden. And like, people talk about how Bernie's not vetted. Are you effing kidding me? Joe Biden has been lying about his civil rights record for the last 40 years. He has continued to lie about it. And I think I saw an update from Sean King today saying that his campaign finally is admitting again that, yeah, Biden was never involved in the civil rights movement, even though he keeps saying he was. So, like, you talk about vetting. How about touching Joe Biden at all? So you have that. You have Hunter Biden here getting an easy job because he's Joe Biden's son. Like, there are a whole number of things that show you, I mean, in so many ways, Joe Biden is a worse candidate than Hillary Clinton. If Joe Biden were the nominee, I think he would do worse than Hillary Clinton did. Because who the hell's going to vote for this guy? It would be so easy to suppress the vote. It would be so easy to suppress the vote. Young people aren't going to come out and vote for this guy. People that are, sick and tired of this two-party system aren't going to come out and vote for this guy because of all his ties to corporations, all his ties to big money, because of, issues like, his son getting an easy job. But also just Biden's record in general is horrible. So you talk about vetting. How about vetting Joe Biden? But potentially after tonight, He's like, he may just go down and never get heard from again, because his campaign, as I showed you earlier, is already preparing everybody that he's not going to do well in the caucus tonight. Somebody in the where is it? Somebody in the messages said this was a good place to look for Iowa updates. Sorry I didn't catch your name because the chat goes by really quick. But also, I'll get to your super chats and stuff after in a bit. Also, new members, what's up? Your Majesty, Megan, Elise, Cheryl. Maybe there was more earlier that I missed. But thank you so much for becoming a member. You can also become a patron. That's another way to support me. Let's make sure I got everybody here. Jim Hopper. Did I say thank you to you? Thank you, Jim. All right. Let's see what is happening right now. So this is 6 minutes ago. Caucus goers wait in line to register. Okay, not much really happening here. Oh, look at this. That's interesting. So the poll that was not released, that was supposed to be released, CNN made this huge thing about we're going to release the final poll before Iowa, and then they never actually released it because a Buttigieg staffer complained that potentially one of the people that were asking, that were calling people for the poll, had maybe cut Buttigieg's name off of his screen because he increased the font size and then didn't see Buttigieg's name. Again, this is like one person that they based this entire thing off of. So we don't even know if that was actually a problem. But that said, here were the results of the Iowa poll. Sanders 22%, Warren 18%, Buttigieg 16%, Biden 13%. So Biden not even viable. Here's the other benefit of Biden going down. If Biden does this poorly in Iowa, it could give a huge boost to Sanders in South Carolina, because right now in South Carolina, in the latest poll, Sanders is just 5 points behind Joe Biden. So everyone's saying, oh, Joe Biden's firewall is South Carolina. Yet again, you look into Biden's record at all, and he begins to fall apart. His record falls apart. He falls apart. It's really easy to take down Joe Biden if you actually go after him and actually vet him. So if on top of all that, you also, voters now see that Biden is not a viable candidate, a lot of that Biden support is going to go to Bernie Sanders, because Bernie Sanders is the second choice for a lot of Biden supporters. So if Biden does horribly in Iowa, it could help Sanders in South Carolina. And I mean, ultimately, Sanders is doing very well in New Hampshire right now in polling. Nevada, he's doing well. California, he's doing well. Texas, he's just down by a couple, I think, behind Joe Biden. And he actually beats Trump in head-to-head. Or sorry, he is closest to beating Trump in head-to-head matchups in Texas compared to Joe Biden. So Sanders does better in head-to-head in Texas against Trump than Biden does. But so I guess this was the unreleased poll. Interesting. So yeah, everything's kind of just getting started. Nothing. This is the commotion.
Yes.
Here's a young person. I like to see that. I want to see more young people, because there's a good chance those young people are Bernie supporters. All right, what else did I save from earlier? Oh, this. Okay. So, as you see here, Claire McCaskill here claims that Bernie Sanders hasn't been vetted. So let me just play this crap.
Yeah, I don't think it's a revolutionary period right now in our country's history. I think he says revolution, you're from inside the Beltway, but inside the Beltway is where they passed the tax laws. And I still want to know how he's getting the 60 votes for all this stuff in the U.S. Senate.
You don't know Bernie.
Yeah, where's he going to get 60 votes? He never talks about reality. It takes 60.
Wait until you have millions of effing people marching in Washington and around the country to put pressure on these politicians to get this agenda passed. I mean, no president has tried to rally people the way that Bernie Sanders will. So, again, it's an unproven case. We don't know if it's going to work, but Sanders understands that to get real change done, you actually have to. It comes from the ground up. You have to activate movements around the country. That's the way you get. That's the way you actually get real change done. So, if you want incremental change, yeah, I guess the way Chris Matthews thinks is the way that you would think. But if you want something like, if you want real structural change, if you want something like Medicare for All passed, it takes a mass movement of people, and Sanders knows that, which is why he's building this mass movement of people and why he destroys every other candidate when it comes to individual donors.
60 votes for a new program. It takes at least a majority to change tax structure. And Ted Kennedy was still around. They gave us 60 votes. After that, we had to do it through reconciliation. There's rules. And Bernie's never passed anything. He's never done anything. And now he's coming and saying, I'm going to do all this stuff.
Well, wait.
Well, now.
Who does that
I'm
sell?
sorry. He's never. Before somebody tells you what they're going to do, ask them what they've done. Ask them what they've done.
We could ask the same, Willie. I hate to keep going back to this. We could go back to Donald Trump, who said, I'm the best at fill in the blank. Believe me.
Okay, before we go on, let's go through some of Bernie's accomplishments here, since this is an annoying talking point from Chris Matthews. If I can even read this, that's going to be really small. But a few of Bernie's accomplishments. 1, providing 9 million more Americans with primary health care, 2 million more with dental care, and 806,000 more with mental health services through a $12.5 billion expansion in community health centers. Raising wages of the 350,000 Amazon workers to at least $15 an hour. Increasing the wages of over 60,000 Disney workers to at least $15 an hour. Again, this is recently. Like you can look up these headlines. Like look up Disney, Bernie Sanders raising wages. Look up Disney or look up Amazon, Bernie Sanders raising wages. You will see all the details here. And actually, Warren Gunnels does provide all the details for everything he says here. So if you want to see that, you just go to Warren Gunnels' account. Look, it's his pinned tweet, and you click on his pinned tweet. You can scroll down, look at all the evidence under it. But let me go through some more of these. Restoring $320 million in pension benefits to 130,000 IBM workers. 7 states and over 40 cities passed $15 an hour minimum wage laws. Passage of veterans legislation with John McCain providing $5 billion to hire more doctors and nurses at the VA. Passage of legislation ending our involvement in the Saudi-led war in Yemen. And again, who else would be able to do that? The fact that Bernie even got this passed in the Senate. You just can't compare records here. Passage of the first and only audit of the Federal Reserve in 2010. Passage of the National Affordable Housing Trust Fund Act, preventing Social Security cuts to seniors and disabled veterans. Of course, Chris Matthews does none of his homework, doesn't know any of this. Stopping the Postal Service from closing up to 15,000 post offices and over 100 mail processing plants, ending Saturday mail and slashing over 100,000 jobs. Passing more roll call amendments than anyone in a Republican Congress. That's why he was called the Amendment King. Passage of $3.2 billion in energy efficiency and renewable energy grants, raising wages of federal contractors to at least $10.10 an hour in 2014, banning the credit card interest rate bait and switch scam, doubling funding for the low-income home energy assistance program, creating the Northeast Home Heating Oil Reserve, stopping bailed-out banks from replacing U.S. workers with low-wage guest workers, prohibiting the importation of goods made by forced or indentured child labor, mandating free credit reports for all Americans. Again, if anybody in your family, anybody in your life, friends or family, asks you, what has Bernie done? Chris Matthews told me Bernie hasn't done anything at all. Because that's the only place they're going to hear this crap is from cable news. Go to the Warren Gunnels account, Warren Gunnels Warren, look at his pinned tweet, and right here, pinned tweet, just scroll down. It's right there. And all the details are also in the links below. So that's where you got to go to refute that BS. Let's finish this crap.
I'm the best at such and such. Believe me. And the Republican establishment said no. He can't do it. This guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Chris looks like he disagrees.
I disagree. I don't think there's a comparison because I think Trump took over the Republican Party.
Right.
I do not think Bernie Sanders is going to take over the Democratic Party.
Just you wait and see, motherfucker. Just you wait and see.
Claire, what about you?
I think it's tough. Here's what's going to happen. If Bernie comes out of here, especially if he comes out of here strong, he's going to get a thorough vetting for the first time in his presidential politics.
Okay. As she's saying that, let me bring up something. Actually, I think it's right here. What's that? She said this before? Claire McCaskill from Matt Bender here. Claire McCaskill said the same thing about Bernie being unvetted 5 years ago. But then it was about not enough vetting on Sanders being a socialist. Now everyone knows he's a socialist, but apparently he's still unvetted according to her. So they just live in their own world.
Believe me, and the Republican establishment.
And the hypocrisy doesn't end. The lies don't end. It's all to serve their own agenda, all to serve their own egos.
Establishment said no. He can't.
I disagree with the Republican Party.
Right.
I do.
Here's what's going to happen. He comes out of here in his presidential politics. There has not been, I was talking to a reporter the other day and he wanted me to talk about, and I said, I'm just curious, the number one problem that I hear Democrats talk about is gun violence and gun safety. And I've not seen one front page article on the New York Times or the Washington Post about Bernie's really complicated history with guns and his endorsement by the NRA. Normally a candidate, that would be everywhere. But for some...
There's no complicated history. There's no complicated history. I think his rating now is an F from the NRA. It was a D- at one point. He lives in a more rural state. Obviously, people care about hunting. So, but in terms of his actual record on guns, there's no issue. If there was an issue, they would already be discussing it. It would be front page news because they're looking for anything to attack him. They've gotten to the point now where there's multiple articles attacking Bernie bros, showing you they have nothing. So they're going to keep acting like, gotta vet Bernie. And then in reality, he's been vetted and there's nothing there.
Because the opponents of Bernie have not gone after him. Not in 2016 with negative ads. I've had more negative ads run against me in Missouri than Bernie's ever had run against him, running for president twice.
Bull crap. Bernie has a ton of negative ads against him right now. I covered 2 of them recently in a story. The difference is with Bernie Sanders, the negative ads don't actually hurt him because there is no truth to the negativity in the ads. Or if there is truth to it, like one ad was attacking him because he supports Medicare for all. People want Medicare for all. The vast majority of Democratic voters support Medicare for all. So if you're saying, oh, Bernie Sanders supports Medicare for all, you're just helping him. And then the other one was talking about his electability, or them saying he's not electable when every piece of information shows you otherwise. Bernie beats Trump in almost every single poll over the last 4 years in head-to-head matchups. Not to mention he beats beats Trump by higher margins than Biden does in most states. In Texas, Bernie does better against Trump than Biden does. And then you think of everything that isn't included in most of these polls. A lot of people that aren't normally polled, people that are undersampled, young people, independents, people that don't normally vote or aren't registered. These people are typically not polled. And that is Bernie's base. Young people, progressive independents, working class non-voters. That's who Bernie would bring out in a general election, which is why he's the most electable candidate. It's not even close, but they never make any of these points. They never bring up the fact that Hillary Clinton was the ultimate centrist and she lost to Donald Trump. Why don't they bring that up? Why don't they bring up the fact that why would we think Hillary or a candidate using Hillary's strategy in 2020, why would that work now when it didn't work in 2016? They never question any of this. Like, it is amazing the amount of money these losers, like Claire McCaskill, an ultimate loser, she lost her race, and yet she's on here to discuss how Democrats can win. Why would you hire a loser to tell you how Democrats can win, unless you want them to keep losing? just unbelievable the amount of idiots they bring on television. Let me excuse me, check out these. I think I have more super chats. Apparently I do. Torben Otten says, buddy of mine is in Paris today to caucus for Bernie. Awesome. I think I saw the results of that earlier. I forget who won that caucus, but that's cool. Patrick De Hoyo says, would you say you are a Marxist? No, I'm not a Marxist. Here's my position. Potentially I am, but because I haven't read Marx, I can't call myself a Marxist. Though I understand, like, I know his analysis, and I agree with much of his analysis, but I don't like even labeling myself. I don't think, like, that isn't the way I look at my role in terms of how I cover politics. For me, it's about what is the fight? What is the current fight? And let's focus on that. So once the current fight is over, then what is the next fight? And that's where my focus is. If you want to like get into, do I agree with Marxism? Yes, I do. But I wouldn't label myself as a Marxist because I don't think labels are ultimately all that beneficial. Twizzer Prez says, hi, David. Could you play the Times They Are a Changing ad, please? Yeah, sure. I'll play that one again. It's uplifting. Let me pull it up, but I want to finish these other super chats first. But I'll pull that up. I just gotta find it. This is the problem with being the only employee of my organization. I gotta do the research myself. Okay, let me look for it in a second because it's gonna take me a minute to find it. Let me get through these super chats. Ro Khanna convinced a Buttigieg caucuser to switch to Bernie. Yes, I showed that tweet earlier. Will be very successful if more surrogates do this tonight. 100%. Javier Ramirez says, do you think Neera Tanden would make great VP for Bernie? Because I think she would make a great VP for Bernie. Laugh face. Yeah, that's hilarious. I hope to never hear from Neera again once she accepts the Bernie victory. Larry the Truth says Hunter is a bright guy when he lights the crack pipe. All right. Jay Camacho. David says thank you after doing it. David says thank you after doing it. I don't know what that's about. But thank you, Jay. Liquid's Back says all delegates go to Delaney Patrick 2020. It's amazing these people that are still in the race that I forget about. I mean, well, Delaney's actually out, but Deval Patrick is apparently still in the race, I think. I don't think he's dropped out yet. I don't know why these people think they're viable or what they're even doing in the race. They aren't benefiting themselves. They aren't even getting coverage. I mean, I saw Deval Patrick, I think, on television 2 weeks ago. But apart from that, no one's talking about him. I don't really know why he's in the race. I don't get the point. Mark Brankin says Matthews sounds like he's almost in tears. Yeah, he does. Casual Thurs says Chris Matthews shits himself on live TV. He's going to shit tonight. He talks about are the Kennedys and Tip O'Neill. I guess Bernie never made a veterans bill. Yeah. Digital Rain, thank you for your donation. Desmo NYC, thank you. Digital Rain's back again, says Bernicillin greater than Donorrhea. Donorrhea? I don't understand, but yes, I say I agree. JCG Irvin, Irvin says Kyle Klinsky just passed along DNC insiders plot return of superdelegates to stop Sanders at convention. We must bring the fight to them. So that story broke on Friday, I think. And then Tom Perez came out and said it's not real. I feel like Tom Perez would not have publicly said anything about that story if it were real or if there was any truth to it at all. I think he could have easily just sat back and been silent. So he said they're going to keep the rules that the grassroots supporters or whatever he said. I forget his exact wording, but basically he said whatever the rules committee decided on is what we're going to keep for the convention. So I feel like he wouldn't say anything if that wasn't the case. But you know, who knows? Who knows? Old Gringo says, I am proud to have voted against McCaskill for Green Party Joe Crane. McCaskill is just a horrible, horrible, horrible Democrat. Like, how you lose as a moderate and then say, well, the way to win is by being a moderate. I don't, like, how can you say that when you keep losing you with that strategy? How does anybody even believe you? Let me thank some new members here because I think I saw some new members. Mark Brankin. No, never mind. That's the super chat. A lot of super chats. Maybe there weren't new members. I thought I saw something. Never mind. Cool. All right. Let me find this. Let me find this Times Are Changing ad. Feel like, okay, here we go. I found well, I found my coverage of it, so I should be able to find a link. All right, here we go. This is one of the better ads for sure, and this is a fan-made ad. So before I play it again, let me just give the credit to Leah Rose, who does the music here, Rocky Owens, the video producer, and Now and Ben, the editor, Ben Hallman. For this fantastic Bernie supporter made ad. By the way, before I play, are any other candidates? Do any other candidates have a grassroots base like this, creating amazing ads for them like this one? Because I haven't seen anything like this except for the Sanders campaign. Actually, let me see if I can get off screen as I'm playing this because I don't think I need to be on screen for this. That didn't work at all. 1 second. Here we go. I think this should work.
I want you all to take a look around and find someone you don't know. Are you willing to fight for that person who you don't even know as much as you're willing to fight for yourself?
Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, then you'd better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone, for the times they are a-changing. The times they are a-changing.
If you are willing to fight for a government of compassion and justice and decency, not only will we win this election, but together we will transform this country.
Come, mothers and fathers throughout the land, and don't criticize what you can't understand. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. Your old road is rapidly aging. Please get out of the new one if you can lend your hand, for the times they are a-changing. The times they are a-changing. The times they are a-changing.
The pain that one person feels, if we have children who are hungry in America, if we have elderly people who can't afford their prescription drugs, you know what? That impacts you, that impacts me. We are all in this together.
All right. That was great. I saw some other people saying play the Killer Mike ad. I'll set that one up. But let's get to, or I should say, remind me again later. But I want to see some updates here. If there are any updates to what is going on. Where's my Iowa page? There we go. Some people are just super confusing voters. Here's Bob Roble, 68. He's caucusing for Tom Steyer with Andrew Yang as his second choice, but will switch to Pete Buttigieg if neither Steyer or Yang are viable. He caucused for Trump in 2016, and his wife is currently a Joe Biden precinct captain. This is just a scattershot. Like, what the hell? What is any of this? Doesn't make any sense. My only hope is this isn't most people, because this is just like blah. Let's just vomit on the screen. Okay, it doesn't seem to be any big updates yet. Again, I don't think anything really starts till I guess in 15 minutes. I think is when stuff really gets going. T Hayes is in the chat. What's up? One of my mods. I got like 2 mods for this giant audience. Should probably add some more, but not today. Let me get some. I think I heard some more super chats. Let me get to those. Koru says, tried to send you a super chat, David, but it crashed. Bernie is streaming a caucus party at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. what time? Pacific time? I'm going to get off here anyways in maybe 10, 20 minutes. So let me get through these super chats, then play the Killer Mike ad. And actually, let me first see if I got anything else that I wanted to touch on. There were some links I collected. I was going to talk about the Donald Trump Kansas City tweet, but it's fine. Donald Trump tweeted out about Kansas City winning, and he thanked Kansas instead of thanking Missouri. It's Kansas City, Missouri is where the team's from. But I mean, it's Trump. Like, I guess you could say maybe this should hurt him more because it's, like the middle of the country. So this is the kind of thing that actually should hurt Trump, but his supporters don't care about anything. It's at this point, everybody should be concerned about getting new voters. Like the 40% of people that don't normally vote, get those people. That's how you win elections now. Don't try to convert people that are in a cult. It's just not worth it. What else did I have here? Oh yeah, I wanted to share this. Actually, I may even do a video of this on this at some point, maybe tomorrow. But play this here. It's one of the rare times that I saw some good analysis on ABC. This show is usually trash. I should say their guests are usually trash, but this was good.
Whoever gets the Democratic nomination is going to need those 66 million votes that Hillary Clinton got.
Who needs enemies with friends like this, George? I mean, we're talking about Donald Trump. Maybe arguably in 2016, we didn't know what we were getting. Anybody who is attacking, particularly someone who's not running, and as far as I can tell, is not acting as a surrogate for any of the candidates, who is attacking an active presidential candidate rather than attacking Donald Trump, is a distraction. We have all committed as a progressive movement that if Joe Biden is the nominee, if Mickey Mouse is the nominee, we're going to all come together and kick Donald Trump's butt. So help me understand why Hillary Rodham Clinton is talking about an election that already happened and disparaging a candidate who right now is our front runner. And let's be clear, the DNC sets the process. So he has to go through the process, and if he comes out our nominee, he should be supported by all of us. That's the commitment we have to make.
Yeah.
Now this is good analysis, but here's the reality. This is very obvious. Yes, you should support the candidate that wins the most delegates. Yes, you shouldn't be attacking As Hillary Clinton, you shouldn't be attacking the front runner in the race right now. Like, it's amazing what counts now for good coverage on cable news. It's just acknowledging reality. If you acknowledge reality, then it's sometimes worth me doing a story on, because that's how rare it is. Now, this is really just specific to the Democratic Party, like the coverage of the Democratic Party. That's what's all backwards. Coverage of Trump and impeachment. Look, I'm sure if I watched any of it, I might have some issues with it. But generally, from what I've seen, their coverage of Republicans and Trump are usually too soft, if anything. But are at least is a little more fair and accurate than their coverage of the Democratic Party and this primary race. Again, what she said here is correct, but it shouldn't have to be said. It should all be obvious. I think there is potentially more to this. Let me see this version of it.
Who needs enemies with friends like this, George? I mean, we're talking about Donald Trump. Maybe arguably in 2016, we didn't know what we were getting. Anybody who is attacking, particularly someone who's not running, and as far as I can tell is not acting as a surrogate for any of the candidates, who is attacking an active presidential candidate rather than attacking Donald Trump, is a distraction. We have all committed as a progressive movement that if Joe Biden is the nominee, if Mickey Mouse is the nominee, we're going to all come together and kick Donald Trump's butt. So help me understand why Hillary Rodham Clinton is talking about an election that already happened and disparaging a candidate who right now is our front runner. And let's be clear, the DNC sets the process. So he has to go through the process, and if he comes out our nominee, he should be supported by all of us. That's the commitment we have to make. You know, the reality is if you take Elizabeth Warren and you take Bernie Sanders and what they're building, they're talking to a part of our base that we should be talking to all the time, and we rarely do. And he's getting them fired up. He's talking about the things that matter. He's not Donald Trump. He's not talking about separating us. He's talking about bringing us together, providing health care. Oh, let's hate the guy who wants to provide health care for everybody. He's trying to provide education for free for everyone.
Exactly.
And so I think that message is going to resonate, and his base is very diverse.
I don't think there is any chance that Mike Bloomberg is the Democratic nominee.
I agree.
Because let me tell you something, Bernie Sanders is a lot of things. He's not stupid. And if it comes down to Sanders emerging from these first three, let me tell you what you're going to see on TV from Sanders. You're going to see Mike Bloomberg endorsing Rudy Giuliani. You're going to see him endorsing George W. Bush. You're going to see him endorsing John McCain. And not lukewarm, enthusiastic. If you're telling me that the energized part of the Democratic Party is going to go, oh, hell, we can trust Mike Bloomberg. We can trust Mike Bloomberg. No one trusts Mike Bloomberg, okay? Because Mike Bloomberg's for Mike Bloomberg. He was a Republican when it was convenient and was cuddled up to Rudy Giuliani. Then when it was not so great to be a Republican during the Iraq War, he becomes an independent. And then when he's not an independent anymore, because that doesn't work, he becomes a Democrat. So listen,
all those problems with Donald Trump. You just seem upset that you're not one of them.
Believe me, I don't consult with people without principles.
Wow. That was awesome. That was awesome. Chris Christie actually making a point. I hadn't seen the Chris Christie part of that. First, let me give credit to Yvette Simpson. So her analysis here was solid. I'm just taken aback by Chris Christie. I didn't know he would have a coherent analysis of Michael Bloomberg. That was really good. I may do a video on that tomorrow. All right, let me get some last super chats in. So get your super chats in now if you want to ask a question or make a comment. And then I'll let you all go watch coverage where there are more than one person talking, because there's a lot of good people doing live streams of this coverage that actually have people on the ground. So, the Young Turks, Majority Report, I think The Hill's doing a live stream. So lots to go to after I wrap up these super chats. Where was I? Okay. Guy Lafleur says face zoom in and stare what for 30 seconds. I don't know what this is. Thank you for this $69.69 donation. A very generous donation again from Guy Lafleur. Linda Andrews sends a generous super chat. Thank you, Linda. Saying, what is it? Number one fan. Thank you, Linda. Bernard Johnson says, this is Underrated Bernie ad, in my opinion. Perfect for Iowa caucus. Check it out. I don't have time to watch more videos. Jody Godwin says, found you recently. Thanks for being on our side. No problem. Thank you for being on the correct side of history. Seth Peterson says, did you play the Killer Mike ad? Your voice is super important in the revolution of independent journalism. Thanks, David. Since I said I would play it, I will play the Killer Mike ad to end once I finish these super chats. Please promote ORF video, microfolio video. Is it Mike? Matterfolio. Comparing MLK to Bernie Sanders. Yeah, I played that on a previous stream, actually. It's a fantastic ad. But since I promised I'd play the Killer Mike ad, I'll do that one. Kenneth Topping says, have you seen Chris Matthews' interview with Phil Donahue where Phil demolishes Chris as a sellout journalist? Pretty brilliant. I vaguely remember that. I may have to pull that one out. Not here, but again, for a future video. That sounds great, though. Thank you, Kenneth. Elise Balk says, this ad makes me cry every time with hope. Hugh Guyver says, you're doing a great job, David. Thank you. Victor Nava Jr. says the Des Moines Register poll was released. Biden 4th. Yep, I showed that earlier. Biden 4th in the Des Moines Register poll. Very interesting. But we're going to have results soon, so all polls right now kind of go out the window once we start getting results in. The Tadger says, lots of love from Ireland. What time are results? I think they're going to start coming in about an hour. 2 hours, I don't know. It could go late into the night. Actually, because it's a caucus, the results may come in longer than what would usually be for a primary night. So to be honest, I don't know exactly. But I know the caucus process, I believe, starts in about 2 minutes. Kim Gomez says, all my Bernie news came from you. Thank you. Awesome, Kim. Thank you. I think I heard another super chat. Let me see if I can, since I get audio notifications. Let me finish these. JCG Irvin says, I think you sent this earlier. Kyle Klinsky just passed along DNC insiders plot return of superdelegates to stop Sanders at convention. Don't know if you addressed this earlier. I haven't seen this video, but if it has to do with what you're saying it has to do with, Tom Perez responded to that and said it's not real. So I feel like he wouldn't say it publicly if it was real, but I'm going to have to look more into that. DB says, what's your intro music? Keep up the DJ skills, yo. I don't remember. It's from YouTube. It's a royalty-free, like, instrumental. I don't even know how I would find the name, to be honest with you. Maybe I saved it somewhere. Let me check. If you go to royalty-free YouTube music, I mean, there's a lot, so you might have a hard time finding it. But let me do a quick search for you, see if I have it here. Okay, it's one of these. It's either Cycles, Memory Rain, Sunrise Drive, or T_Rexed. So if you look up one of those names on the YouTube music website, if you just look up YouTube royalty-free music, you'll find the site. It's one of those names. So I'm not exactly sure which one it is. All right, let me pull up the Killer Mike ad. If I can find it. Yeah, here it is. All right, I'm gonna play this. This is your last chance to get. I just heard a super chat. This is your last chance to get in super chats. Once this video is over, I'll take whatever's left, if there are any chats left, and then I will get out of here. Let me play this.
I just want to say one of my favorite writers growing up was a man named James Baldwin. And I remember Baldwin saying, you asked my father to wait, my brother to wait, my uncle to wait. How long must I wait on freedom? How long must I wait on rights and equality and liberty? And as a black child, that resonated with me because I knew I'd been denied and I personalized that. But as I grew, I started to understand poor white people have been denied. Women have been denied. Gays and lesbians, transgender people been denied. Immigrant children been denied. Everybody outside of that 1% has been denied. So I want you to take a few seconds to look to your left and look to your right. Look to your neighbor and say, neighbor, the time is now. There are more of us. We're stronger. We will wait no longer. The time is now. When you go to that booth next year, I need you to carry in that booth the memory of this room. Black, white, straight, gay, men, female. We are together. We are united. Our time is right now. We will not wait 4 more years. We will not wait 20 more years. We will not wait 2 more presidents. We will not wait 3 more presidents. The time is now. The time is not in the future. The time is not some abstract time. The time is not something that might be. The time ain't something that could be. The time ain't nothing that should be, that would be. It ain't tomorrow. It ain't the day after. It ain't coming next week. The time is. The time is. The time is. The time is. Senator Bernard Sanders will be the next president of the United States of America. Thank you all.
How about that? The revolution's coming. That was great. Definitely pumped me up for tonight. All right, let me just get the last. I think I saw a super chat or two, and then I'll get out of here. And I'll be watching the results on my couch like everybody else. Cool Cat M says, I just shared a Bernie video on Twitter to you. Sorry, I'm not doing any more videos right now. Jane Johansson says, or sends a super chat. Thank you for your 10 kroner. Roman says, the time is now. Damn right, the time is now. All right, everybody. I think that's it. Let's put our hope together. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Let's all hope, pray, wish, and also phone bank, door knock, donate, and let's deliver Bernie Sanders and this people's movement of victory starting today. All right. I will be back tomorrow with the results. I may even do a quick live stream tonight, late tonight, if the results are in and final. So no guarantees there though. But ultimately tomorrow I'll likely do more of my coverage. All right. Thank you all for coming, and see you potentially later tonight. If not then tomorrow. See you.